Hello and welcome to this video. Apologies if the audio isn't great. The little fluffy mic thing fell off of my camera and I'm not sure where it went, so hopefully I can find that soon. I'm also a little out of breath. I was just bringing these boxes up the stairs. I bought a house with my husband, and so we are in the process of kind of getting everything together, cleaning up and moving all of our stuff and putting furniture together. Unfortunately, the previous owners, they left the house in an okay state. It was just dirty. It was really dusty. Nobody had been living in it for like a month or two. It had been on the market for a little while before we bought it, and we realized that they just did a really bad job of staging it and making it look nice. But it is a really nice house, and we're really excited to kind of start a new chapter here. But that said, I've been wanting to read Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. It just seems like an interesting concept. For those who don't know, it is a horror comedy that kind of spoofs IKEA, I would say. If you look at this, definitely it looks like an IKEA catalog. But I thought there's no better time to read this book than while you're putting flat pack furniture together and moving and all of that stuff. I feel like it would be more impactful to read it at this moment in my life. So I haven't actually started the book yet. I had hoped to start it during lunch, but I've been painting a room in my house. That's gonna be my library / art studio. And it's taken pretty much all day. It's taken much longer than I wanted it to. And then I finished putting our couch together, which is actually what the camera's sitting on right now. I just figured it would be fun to kind of bring you along my moving journey while also reading a book at the same time to make it book relevant. Welcome to my new house. It's probably really echo in here because there's no furniture, but I just wanted to do a really quick walkthrough for this vlog, and also kind of for myself because we do plan on doing quite a bit of work to this house over time. So I kind of want to have something to look back on so we can see what has changed. Okay, I'm outside now, so I feel like I can talk a little bit more. I think the funniest thing that was left behind for us from the previous owners was this boat. Not really sure quite yet what we're gonna do with it. Might just get rid of it or give it to a friend or sell it or keep it for ourselves. We have no idea yet, but they left us a lot of random stuff. Like you probably saw in the front of the house, there's a bunch of pots. I do think they were like working on landscaping because they have like this nice cherry blossom in the backyard and the front yard, and they all have the like supports, and so I'm assuming they're new-ish trees, maybe from like last year before maybe, I'm not sure. And then you can look at this, like I don't know what that's gonna be down there, but these look like they're roses, so I'm really excited because it looks like it's just kind of like almost the entire fence line. We'll probably have these really pretty flowers. And then when you get over here, I actually didn't realize this, but this looks like it's thyme. Let me give it a smell. That might be thyme. Tell me if you know. I was gonna transfer my own thyme bush, but if this is thyme, I might not need to. Maybe I'll just put two next to each other. And it looks like they were trying to plant something here. It looks like it is coming back to life, so we'll see what that is. And then they have these really pretty, I don't know how to say this, but I looked it up online and they should look really pretty when they bloom. So I think our spring and summer are gonna be beautiful, but there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done. It looks like they were in the middle of doing stuff, and like, I'm not sure what's going on with this thing over here. It looks like maybe it's supposed to be a planter, but the area on the other side of the fence, I think we're gonna try to turn into like a garden, so we might just take all this wood and move it over there. It feels a little bit awkward, but maybe they're trying to plant something in here. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, we do have a lot of work to do, but I am excited to make this house our own. Okay, so I'll include the clip of me struggling, but I managed to get that shelf and like stuff out of here, managed to get the door off. They had these like wooden beams that was holding the pole to hang clothes on, and that was a nightmare to remove. I couldn't find the hammer at first, and even when I did find it, I had to like smack it so I could kind of use it like a crowbar. So I'm gonna fill in these little holes with some putty before I start painting. Alright, my holes have been patched, hopefully decently. I've not really done this before. I need to like maybe add another layer on this guy afterwards. But this putty stuff is pretty smelly, so I opened this door and I think I might start working on painting the other walls while that one's going. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, I painted the room. I unfortunately didn't get any clips, but I kept having to move stuff around, and I was already getting annoyed with having to move the ladder and paint cans and stuff, so I didn't really want to set up a tripod. I feel like I did a pretty decent job. Like it's definitely not perfect. There's a couple areas on the trim that I want to touch up. I did find the paint that they used for the trim in here, so that shouldn't be too bad, but I just really love this color. I feel like it turned out so well. The only thing is I do feel like it's a little bit dark in here. The patches that look lighter, it's because the paint is still drying. I like just finished. But it is kind of dark in here, which unfortunately means it's kind of difficult to see on the walls if I've like missed a spot. So I will probably end up going and touching stuff up with a paintbrush here and there as needed. I do also wish I had bought a sander because there's a couple areas on the wall, I don't know how well you can see, but where it's just kind of rough, and I probably could have sanded that back, but it's okay. This is the first room that I have ever painted on my own. I've painted walls and stuff with parents, but this is my first time like picking out my own paint and doing everything. and it's definitely a lot of work. It's taking me pretty much all day. I thought I would get done a lot faster, but that did not happen. But I am really happy with how it turned out, and I'm excited to move the furniture in here and be able to unpack all of my books and art supplies and be able to use this room. If you're wondering what paint I used, it is this Benjamin Moore Aura. Let me turn around. It's Aura, and I got it in an eggshell finish, and here's the code if you want that. C-star 2123-30. I think it is a beautiful color. Obviously in video the color is slightly different, but I would say it's doing an okay job. Turn the lights off, what does it look like? Well, actually, that is actually kind of gives you a better representation with natural lighting. That is the color. But I'm so happy, and I'm gonna work on some other stuff before I need to leave. We have some boxes of our couch that need to put together, so I think I'm gonna do that while I continue listening to music. I need to go to Value Village and drop off donations, but I also really need a snack. So I think what I'm gonna do, and my feet hurt from standing all day, let's be real. I think I'm gonna have a little snack. I have these like mixed nuts while I read maybe a chapter 2 of Horrorstör, and then I will head out. I just feel like I need a little bit of a break, but look how nice it looks. I'm loving the couch. Okay, I haven't been good about updating on my reading. I think I'm probably like halfway-ish through Horrorstör, and this is my first check-in, but it's fine. So I didn't 100% know what to go into this, except that it does take place in a kind of store similar to IKEA, and it definitely does feel like a spoof of IKEA. Even in the book, it says that they're basically a knockoff of IKEA, which is interesting and very fitting, especially for this time in my life when I'm building furniture and buying furniture and whatnot. So you're basically following this store associate who's kind of having a hard time with life. She's having a hard time paying rent. Her roommates kind of want to kick her out because she's not able to pay rent, etc. And she comes into work one day and sees this weird guy, and she's like, you know what? It's not my problem. I'm just gonna leave him alone. And weird things are happening in the store. So they walk by and there's a couch that's just smeared in filth and it smells disgusting. They think, oh, it's just someone like trying to play a prank or whatever. And the manager of that store decided to hold some people back in order to do an overnight watch. And this is within the first like 50 pages, so I don't think this is much of a spoiler. But they stay overnight in order to catch whoever's breaking into the store and wreaking havoc. And then just like weird stuff goes down. I will say there is a little bit of a kind of body horror, which I don't think is really my vibe. But it doesn't seem to be too bad or too graphic. It's just a little bit. So I didn't love the like 1 or 2 scenes with that. I don't think that's my thing. Maybe this is the year I discover what kind of horror I like, because I don't actually really ever read horror. But I do like that this does have a little bit of... It's too early for me to think. That's what I'm looking for. It's a little bit of mixed media. So there are some like pictures that kind of show you like graffiti that the character sees and what she's talking about and things like that, which I do find makes the story enjoyable to read. And it is just honestly a really quick read. I have a feeling I'll probably finish it this week or next, as I try to settle into my reading routine in the mornings again. But yeah, I am enjoying it. Our unpacking is still definitely in process, but we did our big move with a U-Haul and managed to get in at least all of the big things, all the furniture, and our bedroom and bathroom are basically unpacked, as well as the kitchen and most of the living room. But we still have like our workout stuff, my library / art studio, and our office space. And then we have one extra bedroom that right now is just working as storage for stuff that we don't know what to do with yet. So that is what it is. Okay, so I'm in the new house. I got my Starbucks this morning. got a venti because I had a free coffee and I really needed it because I did not sleep great last night. But thankfully I left the house earlier than I intended because my key ring had broken earlier this week and I didn't realize my house key for the new place fell off of it. And thankfully it was just in my coat pocket. But this morning, loaded up my car, got my coffee, was ready to get to work. I got here and realized I couldn't get into the house because I didn't have my key. So I had to drive all the way back to the other place, get my key, and drive back. So I just spent about an hour in the car driving back and forth. So that's fun. But the Xfinity guy is coming to set up our Wi-Fi today and he gets here at 10. So I'm really glad I left early because it's like a little after 9 right now. And if I had left too late, I would not have had time to be able to like go get the keys and come back. So I am really grateful that I had the time to do that and that I knew exactly where those keys were. Also, I'm just loving the view from our kitchen. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but like, look how nice that is. Definitely, like, you can see it better in person, but it's such a clear day. The mountains are beautiful. Okay, so another progress update is this. I think I took a clip of what it looked like before, but it was just nasty. I don't know if it was the caulk that they used around the edge, but it was like a brownish black and it was just really gross looking. And then the handle was all like nasty and corroded. So what we did is Thomas just like chipped all the caulk off and recaulked it with a clear one. And then bought a new handle off Amazon, I think, and just installed that one instead. And it honestly looks so much better. So I'm really pleased with how that turned out. We also bought, and Thomas installed, this shoe rack thing. And so we have kind of the issue of this area is kind of small, but we still want to be able to have shoes and coats. So we have some hooks over here for coats. Although Thomas did this when I wasn't with him, and I kind of would have preferred if they were further apart. And then this thing is really nice because it just pulls out like this. And then you can put your shoes in here. And I think you can fit about 8 pairs of shoes, depending on how big of shoes you have. And this little thing just like keeps it in place. So that's really nice. This is the room that will be our primary bathroom because it's close to our bedroom. What we've done here is we added this little towel hook. It is maybe a little bit high, but I wanted it higher so that we're not putting the towel on top of this, and so that you can reach it easily, etc. And then we have these little things for towels, which were not originally there, and then also this was originally missing this like little pole that goes in the middle. So we just bought some off Amazon and fixed that. We haven't really started moving our bathroom stuff over, so that'll happen in the next couple days. And then we have our utility room, which is kind of just becoming a storage room, which is probably honestly what it's going to be forever. But at some point I do want to put some like nice built-in cabinets here so it looks a little bit nicer. For now, we're kind of just throwing stuff over here, to be honest, while we work on organizing and putting things away. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a disaster over here for a while. making popcorn right now, which is why there's probably some background noise, but I just wanted to show you what I did. So I think I have a previous video of what this looked like before. If not, I'll insert a picture. But like, this did not have a transition, and I'm really proud of myself for figuring out how to do a transition with the help of YouTube, obviously. And there's a couple more I need to do on this floor. Upstairs, I think we're good. We have these ones. They are a little bit higher, and I do feel like I'm gonna stub my toe on them, so I don't love that. But at least they're there. This just was like nothing. It was really ugly. So I want to do the downstairs ones too. I know that the wood doesn't fully match, but this is what the previous owner actually left in the house for us. So I'm assuming they meant to do it and they just never got around to it. But the difficult part of this was that this has to be cut. And I feel like I did like a really good job. Like, look how close that is. I don't know. I'm proud of my work. If someone who's a professional looks at it, it's probably not perfect, but like, I'm happy with how it turned out. This is my view from the couch where I'm sitting, just so you get an idea of where we're at. So, I mean, the kitchen and living room's looking pretty good. Just definitely a lot of like clutter tools laying around everywhere because we're still using them quite a bit. Alrighty, I just finished this book this morning. I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun, but it wasn't anything like super amazing or spectacular, but the concept of it was a great idea. I gave it 3 stars. Maybe it's like a little over 3 stars, but it's basically a 3-star. I do recommend reading it. It's a relatively quick read. And like I said, it's interesting. I kind of like at the beginning of each chapter, let me find one from the beginning so it's not really a spoiler. They do this thing where they like spotlight a piece of furniture from the store. And like I said, it's kind of like an IKEA knockoff sort of thing. And then they'll reference that piece of furniture in the chapter. And as the chapters go on, you get creepier and creepier bits of like furniture or things that like aren't necessarily a part of the store. But there's sort of like this haunting happening at the store, I guess. And there's this thing called the Beehive, which is something you find out very early on. That it seems like people are kind of like getting sucked into, and it's like forced labor of prisoners, I guess. And then the people are staying overnight to try to figure out why weird things are happening in the store. Like I said, they come into the store in the morning and like a couch is soiled. And so they're trying to figure out like what's causing this. Is like a teenager breaking into the store, whatever, and it seems to be paranormal stuff is taking place. And I won't say more than that so that you can read the story and not have it spoiled, but that is the main premise of the book. And it takes place in this kind of like IKEA-like store, which is kind of a store that's kind of meant to disorient you. If you've ever been to IKEA, they have those big arrows on the ground. You're supposed to walk around in a certain way, and it's so easy to just lose track of time in there because there's like not windows. So you just kind of wander aimlessly. And so it kind of works with the story in that they think they're going somewhere and then they end up trapped into this like weird, I don't want to say like parallel dimension, but like it almost kind of feels that way. So I don't know. Interesting concept, interesting book, and definitely do recommend if you're like a mood reader reading it while you're in the middle of a move or right after going to IKEA or going and shopping for furniture. I feel like this book has more impact. And if you've ever worked in retail, I feel like it'll also help you just like understand the characters in this book, because I used to work retail, not at a furniture store, but I feel like, you know, there's some things in common there with like customers and whatnot. So anyway, interesting book. We at this point are mostly moved in. I will probably put some clips in of how everything looks once we are fully unpacked. Obviously, once we unpack, there's still more that we want to do to this house. Since we bought it, we have a lot of liberties to kind of like change up things, but also they require a lot of money. So it's probably going to be a slow process of upgrading things and decorating a little bit more. But we're kind of like not doing so much decorating until we've unpacked all of the main furniture and whatnot, just because it's hard to tell where I want to like hang pictures up and stuff until we've set everything up. So hopefully I'll get my library set up soon. I mean, it'd be nice if I could do it this weekend, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Anyway, I'll talk to you all later.